All right, so we should be live now. I'm just going to, post something here. Hello, everyone. As you join, if you could just post a comment and let us know that you can hear us and see us well. And I'm just going to double check that we are streaming on at least one of the channels. And we are, so we're good. All right, so thank you for joining myself and Erin here. I will get to Erin in a second. For those who I have not met before, my name is Kim Garnett. I am the founder of Brainy. So we help novice course creators get their courses online and into the hands of their buyers. And because we specialize in marketing and technology, I am always looking at new tools that can allow my clients and my students to have more success with their online courses. So Erin, who's joining me today from Course Studio, contacted me, I think it was in September of last year, to kind of walk me through the prototype for a new tool that they were creating. And I was super excited. It was an interactive digital workbook. Looked really, really promising. And so I was super excited when this new product, which is called Wobo, went live this week. I'm actually going to, we got some people joining us. Thank you. I'm just going to throw this up there. So there's a 30-day free trial. I've just put my link on there, and I put my link in the comments as well. So you can go there, get your free trial, try it out for 30 days, and you're going to be really excited about it after we go through what we're going to go through today. So in today's live stream, Erin and I are going to show you around Wobo and how you can use it in your courses to identify students who are lagging behind, enhance your students' experience, better engage them in your courses, and leave your students with an artifact of their learning experience. That is directly from Wobo's website. Before I let Erin introduce herself and introduce you to Wobo, I'm going to ask that you hold your questions till the end of the demo. So we're going to do a demo, and then we're going to do a short 15-minute maybe Q&A session where we can answer some of your questions about Wobo. So Erin, if you could maybe start with who you are, what you do, and a little bit about Wobo, and then we will dive into a demo.
Sounds great. Yeah. And thanks so much for having me. I'm excited. This is our first public appearance with Wobo. So
Awesome.
our official launch is actually on the 28th. So if you're attending this, you're getting a bit of a sneak peek before everyone else does. So that's kind of exciting. So like you mentioned, I'm a product manager with Wobo. So I've kind of seen it through from the idea when I originally contacted a bunch of kind of affiliates or trusted people in the online learning space, to now, which we're almost ready to unleash people on it. So I'll give a bit of background about why we built this first, and some of these pain points might be familiar to you if you've already tried a solution like this. So what we learned in talking to course creators is there's a lot of tools available that are really awesome if you're doing like a quiz or an assessment, kind of more like traditional classroom learning where there's a right and wrong answer. Maybe there's a grade or a certification at the end. But nobody's really found a really awesome way to allow like journaling and self-reflection and just kind of note-taking within the context of the course that really fits and allows both the instructor and the student to kind of see their responses and like share that experience. So that's a lot of our inspiration for where this came from. So what I imagine most of you are doing if you're trying this is making a fillable PDF, either designing it yourself or using something like Canva, which makes a beautiful product. But if you don't have design skills, it can go wrong really easily. And it takes a long time. So what we wanted to do in building Wobo is make something that's really easy to both design and build, is really seamless to put into your course. So trying to minimize the distractions of sending people to, a separate PDF, maybe downloading several PDFs, opening a new tab, sending them out into another product where they have to make another account and log in. So especially for our Thinkific users, there's a free Thinkific app that is available with Wobo that lets you that lets your students do single sign-on. So they never see a logo of ours. They don't see a login screen. They don't see a navigation. It's just seamless, the workbook that you customize inside your Thinkific course. And And then finally, lets you keep that visibility of, you can see their responses, and you can push updates live instantly, which is also very hard with the PDF. So we tried to tackle all of those things in one product. So yeah, I'm really excited to go through the demo and see how those features are kind of pain points turned into the product that we made. So yeah, take it away, Kim.
Awesome. Thank you. Thank you for that introduction. Yes, all of those reasons are reasons why I'm really excited about it. Fillable PDFs are filled with problems, some of which, most of which are addressed with this Wobo product. So I think it's the best thing that I have seen that fits the need in this way. And I'll show you as we're going through some of the things that I absolutely love about it. So let me share my, just a second. I'm going to put us down. I think I figured out how to put us down in the corner there, maybe. Let's do a share screen and see if that works. All right, so you can see my screen now, Erin?
Yep, looks good.
Yep, fabulous, thank you. So once you sign up for your free account, your 30-day trial with Wobo, when you go back to log in, you can either sign in with your Thinkific, which I love, it's just single sign-on, or sign in with an email. In this case, I'm going to sign in with my Thinkific domain. And this is where you are going to see yourself. Creating your first workbook. Now there are templates to work through, so we're actually going to use some of these templates, but this is so easy to use. I absolutely love it because you do not have to be tech savvy to be able to do this. So I'm just going to click on new workbook, and Erin, please jump in at any point with something I'm missing or something you'd like to address here. I'm just going to go through what I've learned so far just in playing with this for a little bit. So you can start by building your own here, or they do have a bunch of different templates to choose from to kind of get you started. And that might be the best way to do it when you're just learning this tool. Try one of the templates that they have, change it up, and maybe at some point you want to build your own. But in the meantime, I'm just going to, I'll preview this first, make sure it's the one that I want to use. Looks good to me. So I'm going to select that one, and I'm just going to call this mindful meditation. And it takes me right into this dashboard here. The first thing I think I would do as a user is click on global styles, so I can add my logo. I can change my page colors. They've got text styling options here with lots and lots of different fonts. Button styling, so that would be for any like download buttons that are going to be on your workbook. Link styling, table styling. So you've got lots of options to make it very branded and very much your own. Let's go back to modules. So you've got a cover page on each workbook. I assume Erin would have a cover page.
Yeah, you can do a cover page for the entire workbook, and then if you want, you can add a cover page at the beginning of each module too, if you'd like.
Right. So something that we should probably explain, just kind of starting this is the huge benefit that I see of Wobo, is that each of these modules that you build with different sections in them goes in as one lesson in Thinkific or other LMSs as like one piece of the workbook. So all they see in that one lesson in your course is that one section of the workbook. So these are meant to be not put in as one full workbook necessarily. However, you could do that if you wanted to. They're meant to be put in so that students and learners, excuse me, can do pieces of the workbook as they work through the course. Is that accurate, Erin?
Yeah, that's one of the big benefits, I think, to this, as you mentioned, is that, yeah, you can embed a module underneath a video, for example. So you could have, video 1, now complete this exercise, video 2, complete this exercise. And then at the end of all of those, whether it's embedded or whether you send them to a standalone version, the download link is going to collect all of those modules into one. So A big advantage over sending, 5 separate PDFs if you did want to kind of time when those are encountered in the course. So yeah, you're totally right on that.
Awesome. So I can see here in this section, this module, we've got a check-in, which is this here, where I can put some text in and allow the student to fill this in. We've got an image here, which you can tailor all of this specifically to your workbook. So I can upload an image. Looks like I can change the sizing. Let's go back to the modules. There's a reflect section, which is actually a table that can be filled in by the student here. And again, you can change the description and the title here. And then there is a table in this one down here. So there are 4 sections in this module. Is that the right terminology, Erin?
Yeah, modules and sections, yeah. Exactly.
Okay, awesome. So I'm going to add a section onto this one. So here's my options. I can add a cover page. And the reason I'd want to do that is if this module was sort of a standalone module piece of the entire workbook, I might want this piece of it to have its own cover page. There's a Q&A section, a link where I can add a link to external material, a notes area. I can add an image, just a text field, an explainer section. So that's without a student response area. There's a table and then a workbook download link. So I'm going to add a workbook download link.
It's a mouthful.
It is, yeah, because I noticed that there was a download link at the end of the second module. But if I want them to download this section of the workbook once they're done with it, then I'm going to put this in so that they can do that. And I'm also going to add let's add a link to external material. And I'm going to move that. Drag it up there. So you can drag and drop these sections here. And I'll put a link here. Great. So let's, it looks like I can also change the title of that module there. Perfect. I can also add a module. Is there a limit on modules?
The navigation appears. There isn't right now. No.
Okay. Awesome. So
one thing I'll mention while we're, sorry, yeah. I think there's a bit of a delay. Yeah. One thing I'll mention while we're talking about sections is that there's 2 other types of sections coming up. So if you were kind of hoping to see like multiple choice or a drop down, those will be possible before the official launch. So this is part of the sneak preview, as you're seeing it a little bit before it's finished, but the ability to pre-fill a drop down list of options that a user can choose.
Awesome. And I will say
like radio buttons.
You guys have been so responsive with suggestions or requests. So I think that's, that speaks to the organization. And for me, that's so important as a customer of an organization, a brand, a business, that there is responsiveness, especially when it's a new product and lots of people are just starting to use it. Sometimes those, requests can be ignored, but you guys have been so responsive. So I really appreciate that.
Awesome. That's great to hear.
Yeah. Once we're done here, I can preview it. So as it says, this is how your workbook will appear to students. So cover page. And then I've got module 1 and module 2. Great. So that looks good to me. I'm going to go back and I'm going to click on publish. Do you want to create a cohort? Do you want to explain cohorts, Erin, for this purpose?
Yeah, so this is the other major change that we're making before the launch actually goes live, because we're realizing not all courses happen in certain dates or use the terminology cohort. So this screen is going to look a little bit different. Basically, instead of seeing this screen, you're going to choose if you want to associate dates or not to the course. So if you are running a cohort, you can choose the start and end date for that course. But if not, you can just ignore it. So for this version of the product, hit yes, because we'll create all our student list.
Okay, and I'm just going to also say that a cohort, like you know, a percentage of our clients and students definitely use cohorts, meaning a specific group of people moving through it at the same time. But many other course creators sort of have do-it-yourself, evergreen, move through at your own pace. You can use this. The cohort doesn't mean it has to be a group of students moving through it all at the same time. So a cohort in many cases could be just a course, which is how I will be using this. So don't get caught up. For those of you who are watching, don't get caught up on this cohort idea, because this could just be a course, not a cohort necessarily. Okay, so we're going to click create.
Think
now.
of it as your student list.
Yeah. Okay. Let's put mindful meditation course. I'm going to name that. And start date, I'm going to leave today. And so what about the end date then? At this point, we have to put in some end date.
Yeah. Yeah, you do
Okay.
for now. So I usually just change the year to something way in the future. But yeah, you will be able to ignore that in the final product.
Okay, perfect. And I'll click create. Awesome. So it says right now I have no students in this cohort. We're going to show you how to be able to see your student information. But at this point, let's go and put this mindful meditation workbook into a course in Thinkific. So I've got my test course here. I've just called it mindful meditation in my Thinkific. I'm going to go into module 1. I've just got a couple of videos in here right now. So I'm going to add a lesson, and the lesson is going to be multimedia. I'm going to put workbook section 1. So I'm going to go over to this module 1 that I've created. I'm going to click the 3 dots here. I'm going to copy the embed URL. Again, here's all your options right now. I'm going to click on Thinkific, and then it's going to give me this link here, and it even tells you paste this URL into a Thinkific multimedia lesson to display this module's content. I'm going to click on copy. I'm going to go over to my course, and I'm going to pop that right in here and click on save. Now I'm going to go back, and I'm going to do the same thing with this second one. So I'll go down to the second chapter, as they're called in Thinkific, add a lesson, multimedia, book, section 2, pop that in there and click on save. So here's something that you need to know. When you go into preview as a enrolled student, these will not show the way that it will for students. So I'm going to show you how to do that, but I just want you to know that, because with other lesson types in Thinkific, the native built-in lesson types like text, PDF, all those things, you can preview this as a student. But with this app, you need to go into the course as a student to view it. Am I right on that, Erin?
Yeah, that's totally right. Basically, what this button is doing is from the student perspective, they're saying it's okay for you to use my Thinkific credentials to log in and create my account for Wobo. So we aren't able to fully do that in this preview mode because you're logged in as the creator of the course, not a student. Hopefully that makes sense. But what you explained is totally on point. So add a student to this course and log in as them, and then you can test the full embed and single sign-on process. Yeah.
Perfect. So that's exactly what I'm going to do here. I've gone to my Thinkific site as a student, and I'm going to sign in. Okay, so I can see I've got 2 courses here. This is the mindful meditation one, so I'm going to click into that. And I'm going to go down to the second module where I've got the workbook section 1 in here. Click on access workbook. And there we go, right within the lesson. We haven't taken them out of the course, right within the lesson. I'm going to put this webinar is causing me stress. It's not really, but have I practiced non-judgment? I'm just going to fill some of this in so that you can see what those responses look like on the creator dashboard.
Perfect. And you can see that little message popping up saying response saved. So their student responses are saved as you go. They don't have to, confirm or save their responses. They're just kind of entering in the journal.
Perfect. And so at the end of it, I can download this, but I can also, as a student, go back. So let's leave this for now. Let's go down to module or section 2 or module 2. Here it is, webinar, distraction, rain, and dog. I'm just going to put these in here for now. And so it says now I've reached the end. I could download it if I wanted to. So as you can see, it's pretty quick because we're streaming and this is still going relatively quickly. So I can download this here. But I can also, if I wanted to, go back into workbook section 1 and go and edit those responses, right? So they're not set in stone like it would be in a PDF or most other kinds of sort of reflective activities. I can go back and edit all of these. All right, so let's get out of this. Let's go back into my dashboard here. And where am I going from here to see my student list then, Erin?
So if you hover over the workbook, you should see the option to view the cohort, which will say view student list in the future.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So let's click that. And as you can see, this information has now been pulled in. This is what I used as a student to log in. This has been pulled in here. And I can view the student workbook. And I can see the responses that have been put in by the student. This is awesome, Erin.
We're pretty excited.
Love this. Yeah, love everything about it. So that's it. I mean, is there anything that I missed in here, Erin, that you wanted to point out that I didn't
don't
cover?
think so, honestly. Yeah, we went over building the workbook and the structure and how to customize it, how to embed it in Thinkific, and how to test that as a course creator, and then how to see the final result. So I think that really covers all of the bases for what we offer right now.
Awesome. Can you explain the status to me?
Sure. Yeah. So these are based around the cohorts that you have set up. The same concept will still apply if you have non-date based courses, just based on the status of the workbook. So active for now means that it's within the active dates that you set for the cohort. Upcoming, you can schedule cohorts to start in the future. And so if the student logged into their dashboard, they wouldn't see it quite yet. So you can kind of hold back the workbook until that cohort starts. Completed means it's over. So that just kind of cleans up your dashboard. And then unpublished means that you have a draft going, but you haven't shared it yet. So students can't see it. Unassigned, that one is going away. So don't worry about that one.
Awesome. So as you can see, guys, it is super easy to, let me pull us both back on here. Super easy to create these workbooks, super easy to embed them in your Thinkific site or other LMS. So what LMSs do you cover? Kajabi, Teachable?
Yep. Zenler is another one that it was new to me. Learn Worlds is one that it works with, but we haven't quite added the instructions yet. There's instructions in our help guide for how to do that. It's very similar to the Teachable, or really any of them. It's an iframe that you're using. So the instructions are very similar. We just updated. There's kind of different dimensions of where it can go in each of the different platforms.
Okay, I'm just going to screen share again for a second because I was going to show you guys, they've got a full support center here. So there's all these sections for educators to help you through this process if you need it. And there's also a whole help section for students. And then there's all of their resources and terms down there. So that would be your, first place that you would go if you needed some help with setting up these workbooks or what to do with them, or to direct students to as well if they need help with them. So awesome. Let's take a few questions here, Erin. And before we get started on the chat questions, there was a couple that came in from some client students and my audience. Number one, can I use the same workbook for multiple courses?
Yes, you can, as long as they're within the same Thinkific account that you offer, because you're installing the app to make that connection. Yeah, but you can totally put the same workbook if it's kind of generic and just, send us your feedback or something like that. You could embed it in multiple Thinkific courses. Yeah.
Okay. Will it save, if I do that, will it save the students' answers in one course and be blank and ready to fill out in another?
No. So if you're using the same workbook, your student responses are always saved, which is maybe good, but if that's not what you were planning, maybe not so great. But the good news is from the dashboard, you can easily duplicate a workbook. So if really you're just wanting the content to be the same, but you want the answers to be blank between the two, that's what I would do. Yeah.
Right. And I think it would be highly unlikely that you would have one student enrolled in two courses have the exact same workbook in there. They would probably be slightly different per course. Is there an option for checkboxes for something like a habit tracker as a person moves through a course?
Yes. So that's one of the sections that we're adding if you're picturing like a multiple choice kind of thing, where it would be like one of the examples I've heard is like a stop smoking course. So if it's kind of like a check in, like how many times do you smoke a day, and you would choose an option. Yes, that will be coming if that's what you're wondering about.
I think she's talking more like check boxes, like, did you do this today? Check. Did you do this today? Check.
Okay. You could set it up that way. I think the way that we're planning it, so it would be like yes or no. Yeah, I think that's totally possible with the upcoming section.
Okay, awesome. Thank you. So I'm going to scroll back and just read some of these comments here. Okay, so Nasmina had a question here.
Oh, that's cool. You can see them on the screen.
Is it possible to input right-left languages such as Arabic or Persian?
My instinct says yes, but I'm going to have to double check. So it's just a text box that is open. So I imagine it would input like symbols, other languages. I'm pretty sure. I'm going to say 80% confidence, yes, but I can respond to that comment on the platform that it came from.
Okay, awesome. Dexter says this looks so cool. Yeah, I totally agree with you. I'm with you on that. Absolutely brilliant. Lots of great feedback here. Let me see. Can we see what the download looks like? Let me just see if it finished, or maybe it didn't finish based on the fact that I flipped off of it. I assume the download would just be a PDF printout.
Yeah, it's a PDF printout. We've created the cover page to look the best when PDF. So sometimes it looks a little bit long on the screen, but that's why, so that when you print it, it's a full page, nice looking cover page. But yeah, we can, if you still have it open, you can download from the preview if you don't still have the Thinkific app open.
Okay.
It won't have any of your responses because you're not logged in as a student, but we can show an example.
Okay, so let me just
I think that answers another question that says, at the end of the course, can students download their completed workbook to keep after the course is complete? Yeah, 100%. That's the whole purpose of the PDF download. So we can have a look at that.
Okay, so I want to go in here to edit the workbook,
so yeah,
or I want to go
exactly.
Okay.
Go in, well, either, but this might be faster if you edit the workbook or go back to the Thinkific course, whichever.
Yeah, let me go back here. And I'll just click download, and we'll give it a minute.
Yeah, keep the tab open here.
Right. So yeah, if they flip off it, but that would be like anything. If you flip off it, the download is probably not going to complete unless it says 100% completed, right?
Yeah.
Here we go. So let's open this up. So that's how it looks. Looks just like it does within the course itself.
And the links
there we go.
will still work, which is a nice feature.
Yeah,
if you're sending external resources, they can still send you there.
Yeah, that's awesome. Okay. So hopefully that answers that question. Tracy says, what about Learn Upon? I'm assuming that's an LMS of some kind.
Yeah, I haven't tried that one. Any LMS that allows embedding or adding an iframe, it will work with. So until we have integrations for all of them, you also have to install a site snippet, which you might have done if you have added like a chat or like a Google Analytics to your site. So there's instructions for a bunch of other LMSs in the support docs. I'll look into Learn Upon and add it. But if you feel confident with installing site snippets, just look at something like Teachable and do the equivalent in your LMS
Yeah.
system. But I'll
Yeah.
add one for Learn Upon if it's possible.
Awesome. And that's the
Most
nice thing about
LMSs
the
allow
30-day
embedding.
trial is that you can try these things out and see if it works and see if it doesn't and see if you like it and see if it does, it doesn't work for you. And I love that it's 30 days and not like 3 days or 7 days, because sometimes it's hard to really try it out in that period of time. Let me see. Steve, can a teacher comment on a student's responses?
This has been a big back and forth for us when we're planning the product. So it's not part of the initial launch, but it's definitely on our radar, and I would expect it to be coming shortly, because it's been something that's kind of like an added value. But yeah, I can totally see the value in being able to, even as a student, ask a question, or as an instructor say, hey, I noticed you didn't finish this. Do you need help? Can you give me more detail? So yeah, not in this initial February launch, but I would expect it in the coming months.
Awesome. Thank you. Here is one. In addition to seeing each individual student response, is there an aggregate function so that I can see the answers of all students?
Another very good question. Not in the initial version. And my designers are going to hate me when I ask them to aggregate tables. I'm not sure how we're going to do that, but this is something I can definitely see being really helpful as you have more and more students, not having to delve into each one, or yeah, if it's a quick response, seeing multiple. So it's not possible now. You do go into each student workbook, but that is also on our radar for sure for the future.
Yeah, awesome. Okay. At the end of the course, can students download their completed workbook to keep after the course is complete? So we've already answered that. They can download it. But Erin, do you want to address giving them access beyond the course to edit and so on?
Sure. Yeah. So as you can see with the embedded version in Thinkific, it's totally white labeled. You can kind of control how much you show them of the workbook. There is also a standalone version, which you can either send students to from the beginning. So you can send email invites, they'll set up a Wobo account and they can access it. It looks like the preview, how you saw that left navigation, and you can see the whole workbook at once. I lost my train of thought. What was the question? Oh,
Totally
like
get
how
it.
do
I'm
they get
with
there
you.
from Thinkific?
Yeah.
Yes.
So if you want to address how they would, if you wanted to give a student access to the workbook to edit after the course was complete, is that possible?
Yes, that's where I was going. So yeah, you could either send them an email invite and send them to Wobo standalone from the get-go, or if they accessed it through Thinkific, which if you're a Thinkific user is the most seamless way, you can send them to the student login screen. It's a separate login screen, and then they can either request a password for their account and log in because they didn't choose one at the beginning. Or they can still log in with their Thinkific credentials. So they'll be taken to a screen where they enter the URL of your course, and then that sends them to the Thinkific login, and they can log in with those same credentials. So there's an article in the support docs about that too, which it's probably simplest to send it straight to your students. The article is addressed to them and can say, how did you access the course in the first place? Here's how to get to your dashboard either way.
Yeah, and you would probably, as a creator, want to let them know here's the URL of the course, because they might not know what that is, because of course sales pages aren't necessarily on Thinkific and so on. So that would be some piece of information that you'd probably want to give them as a creator. And last question that we're going to take: are there any limitations on the first version? I can see using this in 2 weeks on a 20-day program launch. Limitations on the first version. I am unclear I don't know if you can.
Maybe like the product, how it exists before we officially launch. The only thing is that you do have to choose start and end dates, but it sounds like you're going to do that anyway. And you can just have on the free trial, you can have one active workbook at a time. So that would be the only limitation if you're staying in the free trial. But once you upgrade, the product now is very similar to what it will be once we officially launch. So if I'm understanding the question correctly, there's no limitations other than which tier you're on based on how many workbooks you need.
Awesome. I'm going to throw the link up here one time. It's brainygirlu.com/Wobo. If you want to get a 30-day free trial and try it out, I would highly suggest that you do. Erin, thank you so much for coming on with me today. I think that was super helpful. I know that lots of people were hoping to watch the replay. If you do have questions after these live streams are done, please feel free to drop them in the comments. I'll definitely be monitoring, and I think Erin may jump in as well to answer where she can. So thank you. I'm so excited about Wobo, and I appreciate you allowing me to do this with you and share it with my audience as well.
Awesome. Thanks so much for having me. It's been fun.
It has been fun. Okay, see you soon.